Just the last hour, President Trump signed a disaster proclamation for Texas. People who are choosing not to evacuate, get this, are now being asked to write their Social Security numbers with Sharpies on their arms for identification purposes later.
And with that being said, thousands have left their homes behind. Travel from planes to cruise ships, it is crippled right now as the Texas Gulf Coast braces for impact.
We should let you know we have team coverage tonight of this huge hurricane that's brewing down there. We're going to start now with Lindsay Mastis. She's tracking what could happen in the next few hours. Lindsay?
Yeah, Jonathan, Hurricane Harvey is now the most powerful storm to hit the U.S. in more than a decade. The National Weather Service is warning that some areas may be uninhabitable for weeks, possibly months. In addition to catastrophic rain, it is creating tornado warnings. The winds are so strong that it is ripping bark from trees. People are urged to evacuate, but some will stay, and that could have deadly consequences.
Those that are going to stay, it's unfortunate, but they should make some type of preparation to mark their arm with a Sharpie pen, put their Social Security number on it.
The Texas National Guard is bringing more than 1,000 troops in to help, and there are shelters open for at least 40,000 people. The decision to stay or go can be difficult at this hour. Gas stations are running out of fuel. And even though the governor asked people in Houston to evacuate, the mayor told residents to stay because if everyone tries to leave at the same time, it'll clog roads and cause other dangers. Jonathan?
All right, Lindsay, thanks very much. Hospitals in Texas, they are bracing for the worst. You're looking at pictures taken earlier, babies that were being treated in the neonatal intensive care unit at a hospital in Corpus Christi, right in the path of the storm. They were evacuated. Some arrived in Fort Worth last night, which is a safe distance from the storm's path.
New tonight, Airbnb helping hurricane evacuees find places to stay. The company is waiving all service fees for evacuees checking in. It's also working to pair them with homeowners who are willing to host people for free during the storm. The website currently lists several rooms available at no cost.
All right, Storm Watch 7 on duty tonight, and we're watching landfall for Hurricane Harvey. It just occurred. We now have winds, the 11 o'clock update, at 130 miles per hour. This makes it a Category 4 hurricane with wind gusts that have now increased from 155 to 160 miles per hour. Now, the storm itself has slowed down a bit, moving out of the northwest is 7. It's going to continue to slow as we move through the overnight hours, and then the torrential rains will continue not only for the day tomorrow, but into Monday, even into Tuesday of next week. Let's talk about what's going on closer to home. Much nicer weather around the DMV. Daytime highs tomorrow will eventually make it into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Low humidity. It's going to be gorgeous out there. We do have some changes, though, coming early next week. System off the coast of South Carolina could bring us some showers. Give you the timing on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Steve, thanks. We'll see you in a few minutes. We are tracking Hurricane Harvey from every angle tonight. Coming up for us at 11:09, we'll have a live report from Corpus Christi. That place is getting blasted. Then at 11:20, Steve Rudin will be back tracking the very latest path of the storm, and ABC News will go into special coverage starting at 2 o'clock in the morning and then again at 5 o'clock in the morning. And of course, we will post all breaking news updates on our website. That is being updated constantly. Just go to WJLA.com around the clock. Again, President Trump is signing, or already has signed, a disaster proclamation because of the storm. He tweeted just a few hours ago saying that the federal government is on site and ready to respond and staying safe. Earlier today, he tweeted to tell everyone to listen to their local officials.
And breaking news tonight from the White House, several big stories, each having nothing to do with the storm, each coming in just within the last few hours. First, the president directing the military not to continue with an Obama-era plan that would allow transgender people to be recruited into the armed forces. This follows last month's controversial tweet announcing his intention to ban transgender people from serving. The memorandum also bans the Department of Defense from using resources to provide medical treatment regimens for transgender people. President Trump is also asking officials to determine what to do about transgender people currently serving.
Also breaking tonight, President Trump making another controversial move in the form of a pardon. He pardoned former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Arpaio was found guilty of criminal contempt for disregarding a court order in racial profiling case. Now, in a statement tonight, the president says that he is a, quote, worthy candidate for pardon. He had alluded to issuing a pardon just the other night at a Phoenix rally, but he said he wouldn't do it that night because he just didn't want to cause controversy.
And tonight, the president's top counterterrorism advisor has stepped down. Sebastian Gorka is out. Now, this is the latest name in an already long list of exits from the Trump administration. Gorka previously worked as a national security advisor or editor for Breitbart, the news site chaired by Steve Bannon.
And new details are coming into our newsroom tonight about North Korea. They fired off several what they're calling projectiles tonight. We're told these are short range. They traveled only about 150 miles. South Korea says they are monitoring the situation very closely. But do keep in mind, this comes during a very tense summer, just weeks after North Korea threatened to strike the U.S. territory of Guam with nukes.
And new at 11 tonight, a Nazi flag and Hitler salutes right in their backyard. Arlington neighbors say they were stunned by it. And that's why within a matter of hours, you see them there, they gathered to reject hate. Tom Rousey joins us live with the story. Tom?
Yeah, you know, Nancy, talking with neighbors here in the Dominion Hills area of Arlington, they say they absolutely couldn't believe it. The middle of the day, an open ceremony held by Nazis right over here in this shopping center. They say when they saw the images of that ceremony, they had to respond.
I can't believe we even have to contemplate this stuff. I mean, this is just pathetic.
They had just hours to organize, but still dozens came.
I can't say that I've felt rage much in the last 10 years, and I felt rage today.
The rage was over this, a gathering of Nazis at the Dominion Hills shopping center around noon.
George Lincoln Rockwell, leader of the American Nazi Party, meets a violent end.
They were commemorating the 50th anniversary of the assassination of the founder of the American Nazi Party. It happened at this shopping center.
First thing I'd noticed was the Nazi flag.
Matt Garcia says it was about